Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to Niced Word on the Street podcast. And as you can see, we are a full house right now. To my right, that's possibly your left. I don't know, possibly would be.
Hi, my name is Genesis. I'm a mentor at PS10.
Genesis is a woman of many words, so this is about to be a very interesting episode.
My name is Kareem. I'm a mentor with PS16's NICET program.
Mr. Josh, I'm a mentor at PS10, NICET program.
So today we are talking Parenting 101. Parenting 101, that is the topic of today. And all of us, the whole panel, the dream team over here, are all parents. I know everyone looks young, but we're actually parents. So Genesis, start us off. How does it feel to be a parent, to finally be a parent?
Well, it's tiring. I have a 5-month-old, so I'm still not sleeping much. And it's exciting. There's a lot of possibilities. I just think about the different stages he's going through, and I get excited. As he's growing, he's doing different things. He's laughing, smiling. And I just remember when he was a little tiny bean. They grow so fast.
How about you, Kareem?
So for me, it was transformative. I think being a parent made me the best version of myself, more patient, more kind, quicker to listen more than to, respond. It just makes you better.
Yeah, I would piggyback off what Genesis said. Yes, it's very tiring being a parent, especially when you have, a newborn. You're trying to figure out certain things that your newborn can't express to you. And after a while, it becomes very exhausting. But it is amazing, it is an amazing feeling being a parent, being a protector, having somebody that is a spitting image of you and always looking up to you. So it is an amazing feeling as well.
So y'all say tiring. Do you feel like, because I always say this term, kid energy. Do you feel like kid energy is different from regular energy?
Definitely.
You be able to go out and party and I got energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kid energy is different, isn't it?
Yeah. It's crazy how much energy my son has. He's 2 years old. He's a toddler, and he has this burst of energy, and it's all day long. And I'm sitting there yo, I'm tired. How are you not tired? You've been going since 6 o'clock this morning. It is now 8 p.m. It is time for bed. He's still sitting there going, I'm a dinosaur, and stomping and jumping and I don't know where he gets it. It's beyond me.
Genesis, are you ready for that? You ready for stomping dinosaur?
Yeah.
You ready?
I'm ready.
You sure?
Oh man,
But you're right. It's also humbling to see them go through the stages of,
for sure.
Maturing.
Yeah.
They start to walk. They start to recognize you. That's a big one. It's really nice.
Oh, that's lovely. I'm going to be honest. I'm 6'8", so I don't like babies when they're first born. So if you want to hold it, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm okay. So I feel like my whole hand is the size of the body. I don't like that. And then it's it's like holding a bag of water. So for me, I like the phase when they can start, they don't have the noodle neck no more. They can hold their head up.
Yeah.
That's when I start getting into babies.
Yeah.
Before then, I was like, I'm good.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that's like that actually. I have an aunt who did not hold my son until he was maybe 6 months old. Till he was able to hold his own neck up. I mean, even his own grandfather, he didn't want to hold him. His grandfather's almost as tall as you. He didn't want to hold him until he was a little older to hold himself up as well.
It's too much.
Some people feel it's delicate.
Yeah.
It's delicate, Some people feel I might drop your baby. You know what I'm saying? I watched the movie. It's called Don't Drop the Baby.
My birthing situation is like the whole body.
Yeah.
So it's I'm like, no. And then the mothers are always like, no, birth the baby. And I'm like, no, you can do that.
You hit it too hard.
Yeah, I don't. But I absolutely do enjoy. I think for me, it's calmed me down. As calm as I already was, I definitely would think before reacting and handling certain situations. So I feel like my kids have saved some people's lives because, definitely in certain moments with jobs and stuff, when things have gotten stressful, I might have reacted in a certain manner, and like the thought of them, like, look, just let it go. It's not even that serious.
No, for real.
Like
100%.
life takes on a new meaning,
Yeah.
for sure.
I get like that when I'm driving. Somebody cuts me off. I
Right.
get really bad road rage. So instead of me reacting, it's like, wait, my son's in the back. Let me relax. You know what? Go ahead. You got it. You must be in a rush more than I am. It's okay.
And you have to be careful with that because you mess around and your kid's first words will be something cursing.
For sure.
For sure. But car rides, this is a hack, by the way. Car rides are it. Like when you need the baby to go to sleep, that's like
Yeah,
Yes.
my son loves them.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. It does the job. It does the job.
With my oldest, when she wouldn't go to sleep at night, sometimes I just midnight driving, throw her in the back seat of the car. I'm driving around the block. I'm like, all right,
It takes literally 5 minutes. Before you even get to the red light. The next red light is sleep.
yeah, that 5-minute drive could definitely give you a whole hour worth of peace.
there you go.
Sure.
How about yours? Does he fully fall out or does he?
He's sleeping as long as the car is moving. Once we stop, then he crying again.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That
rough.
stage.
Unless he's really knocked out, then he won't wake up for a little bit. But if he feels the car has been like stationary for too long, he's like, no, it's terrible.
They like constant movement,
Yeah.
constant vibration.
So what are some of the unmentioned challenges of being a parent? Sometimes they talk about and it's I want to spin this because when they talk about kids, people are like, oh, don't have kids. All right, they speak about kids in like a negative connotation. And then they tell you about how expensive they are or certain things. What are some of the things that you feel might not have been mentioned, or it kind of like you have to go through it to fully understand?
Taking a vacation. Ever since my son has been born, I have yet to take a vacation.
How about you?
I mean, I guess the lack of time you have for yourself, and you have to plan every move you make because you need somebody else to watch the baby. The diaper bag has to be ready. You just can't just get up and go anymore. So it's for me, it's I don't know. I don't miss my husband last night. Was like sometimes I miss my old self before the baby. I guess I don't really know what that means because I don't know. I feel like I'm myself now, but I guess he was also more sociable and he misses being around people. I mean, I was fine without him. But yeah, I guess just the time that you don't really have time to yourself until they're much older.
That's huge.
I mean, people tell you that, but I think when you actually have the baby, it's different. Like you realize, wow, okay, I really don't have time.
That's huge. One of the things they say is when you're on a plane, they always tell you to put your oxygen mask on first before you put the person next to you yours on. And when you have a kid, sometimes you got to put their oxygen mask on first, which is kind of backwards. Like, and you have to be good in order to take care of them. But sometimes it's like that's that sacrifice. That's a huge one. And that's another dynamic too, because it's also different from mothers and fathers. I feel like fathers are. It's easier for a father to like when we do have free time, even if it's like a pocket, we're like, all right, we're good. Like this is our time. Mothers are still like, who's watching them? Are they okay? Yeah. I wonder if I packed enough stuff in the diaper bag. Like, listen, there's 10 meals in there. They're good.
Definitely, I've been there before, especially with my wife. Like, there's times we try to do date nights, and if we can't find a sitter between the hours of 5 and 8, we're not going anywhere, right? And sometimes one of our parents will write back after like 8:30. It'd be like, oh, hey, yeah, we'll take him. Oh, well, where we going now? She's kind of like, you know what? No, I'm kind of tired now. I don't want to go. It's like, well, I'm ready to go. Like they said they'll take him. Listen, we can party. But for her, it's like, no, I just want to be with him. It's okay. You know, sometimes it's hard for mommies to let go.
Understandable. Y'all carried him. Y'all, how does it feel? You know what? Let's put Genesis on the house. How does it feel knowing that y'all carried them for 9 months and then they come out looking just like us?
Which is wild.
That is wild. It's crazy.
Tell us how you really feel.
Right.
He didn't even like. I put in the work. Oh my God, he looked just like his dad. Luckily, I like his dad, so it doesn't make me upset. But still, at least he got my dimples.
Right.
Listen, the kid's gonna go far. Okay.
Yeah, so my kids are a little bit older. I have a 10-year-old now. So just managing, because it's different now. We're in the digital age. Trying to figure out what is the right balance between use of tablet or even I was reading this meme the other day. The generation that they're in right now, it's called the Alpha generation. It was basically, are these new kids soft or were we abused as children?
Oh, wow.
And I thought about it and I was just like, wow, some of the things that they say and do now, I just wouldn't even I wouldn't even think to say stuff like that
Facts.
when I was their age, because I knew my mother was coming around and was going to whoop my behind for talking crazy in class or, just half of the things that's being done. So just kind of figuring out how to parent in this new age.
That's huge.
That's huge.
That's huge, and that's actually a great segue into the next question. Like, how do parents in this age? How has parenting affected or changed your relationship with your parents?
Yeah.
Because it's different now. Like you're on one end of the spectrum as far as being a kid, and then you become a parent.
Yeah.
And how has that changed? Has it changed at all?
For me, it hasn't changed much. I was always very close to my mom. If anything, I guess it's made us closer because now I can understand why she guarded me the way she did as I was growing up. Because now I see in my son, like, I want to take care of him. I don't want anything bad to happen to him. So now I can understand her more. And now I'm like, well, I was always thankful growing up, but now I'm even more thankful that she took care of me the way that she did.
I felt that the relationship, I don't know, I'm kind of jealous of my son. Like the way my parents treat my son is and when I was growing up, I was like, there's no way I would have gotten away with that. Yeah. There's no way I can walk past the store, put something in the cart, and you guys buy it. You buy what? Forget about it. There was none of that, and so I get a little jealous. But also, I do appreciate my parents a lot more, because they do help a lot, and it does take a village, and that my parents are my village, and they help a lot. And then I realized that like a lot of the things that they taught me and how they taught me made me the person that I am today, and which isn't a bad, I'm not a bad guy. I'm a very, I'm a nice guy. And it definitely molded me to be able to like raise my own kin. But there are some things that I will tweak and change and do differently because, just now in today's ages, some things are, a little bit more sensitive than others. And I grew up in those times, and I grew up where things became more sensitive. And I don't know if it's us being soft or us just being able to express ourselves and our feelings and our emotions better than how they did it. Right. You know 100%. What I'm saying? So, I do understand the difference between how we grew up when our parents were like very stern and they reprimanded us differently, and to how we kind of are trying to use that and also different ways in how we are raising our children and our kin. So,
How about you, Kareem?
Yeah, I was gonna piggyback off that a little bit. Because my mother was so structured. You know, she had everything sort of down to a T. My mornings were, she already had like my breakfast laid out. Like, let's say on a school day, she had my breakfast laid out. My clothes was already ready to go. So I really had to do nothing but just sort of get myself together. And like, even, like, I understand more now times when she was just saying, like, it's so loud in this house, she couldn't think. Because we were just we were all over the place, man. We're jumping on couches. We're riding bikes in the houses for no, like, a lot of it makes more sense now as an adult, obviously.
Right.
You know, clearly you can't be screaming at the top of your lungs in an apartment building.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. We see it in the hub every single day.
You could, but you probably shouldn't.
Yo, sometimes when I'm realize I don't realize it, but self-consciously I'm sitting here saying something to my son, like, and I sit here and I'm like, yo, I sound like my dad.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sitting here telling my son not to do something or to put something away or to clean up this, and I'm like, yo, wait a minute. Hold on, was that my dad?
For real, I think that's a when you come to that realization, like, I would never do, as a kid, you're like, I would never do this.
Right.
And then you end up like, I'm just like my dad in the sense of like my mannerisms sometimes, because I'll say I'm way calmer, but I'll be like, listen, Popcorn, stop. And then he always does his hand like this, and he'd be like, nah, I joke. Right? That deep, like, West Indian. So then I'll be like, listen. And then I see her now doing the same exact thing. Like, I was
Right.
asking her something, and she couldn't hear me, and she turned and looked at me like, like, what are you talking about? Like, that was the look on. She didn't say that, but that was the look on her face. And I looked at her and I was like, I need to change that. I probably do that to people. That looks disrespectful. Like, she looked at me like that. I just bust out laughing. Like,
Right.
But you know, I think that's one of the things that you don't realize, that you end up becoming just like them.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
It's true.
in certain aspects, for me, it has helped the relationship, but then it's also, I feel like it has well-rounded me as a person, because I wouldn't take away like how we grew up. Like, we grew up, it was definitely rough. It was definitely like, and especially it also depends on the culture as well, right? Certain things might be abuse in one culture, and another culture, that's life. Getting a backhand is like part of life.
Right.
I see where it fit. No, it's true. I see where it fit. And, you know, I've had conversations with my dad, so his dad was even more rough. Like, he had plenty of times of stories where he's like, listen, my dad would call you once, and he couldn't even finish your name, and you better been in his face, else he was hitting you.
Yep.
My dad wasn't like that. His dad was. And then, but I also understand the times that they grew up in. They came here not speaking the language. Racism was crazy back then. We're talking, some of them were here during segregation times. So who knows how much stuff is like deep rooted, you know, that fortunately, like, they've paved the way so we didn't have to go through some of those things, you know. And you can see it in our school. If a kid comes in and doesn't speak the language, it's like the norm. Like, no one's looking like, what's going on? No one's treating them crazy. We had one student, remember, in Summer Rising, he used to call me down, and I used to come translate, right? And I'm like, she wants some cookies, man, right? But it's like, something like that, I'm pretty sure back in the days was different. Like, people was looking at you different. So I kind of take that with a grain of salt. Like, listen, that's possibly the way they had to have been,
Right.
and they've done the best that they can.
It's a little bit of frustration at the time, yeah.
And frustration. But that's another thing too. Now that you're a parent, right? Like, have you ever thought about that you can do your absolute best, and that still might not be good enough? Like, how are you going to handle that?
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that yet.
Good Genesis.
That's a
something.
challenge, yeah.
It's very frustrating, yeah.
I'm taking it day by day. I tend to get anxious if I think too far in the future. I don't want to.
Right.
That's the blueprint, though. That's actually a good thing. That's. Can you repeat that? She's giving parenting 101. Go ahead, say that again.
Say what?
What you just said.
I'm taking it day by day.
Day by day. I don't think you know how that's a very powerful statement. Literally taking it day by day. I think we as parents sometimes try to take on too much.
Yeah.
It's like even if you have a list of 10 things to do in a day and then you don't get them done and then you're now getting on yourself and then it's like, all right, I gotta do this tomorrow. It's like, no, day by day. I had 10 things, I got 3 of them done. Celebrate the 3.
Yeah.
Keep it pushing. Next day, try again, day by day. I think we add to our own anxiety and stresses when we try to figure everything out. Right? Like,
Yeah.
Also, just being present. You don't realize so many times, like, all they really need is just for you to be there. You could probably, in your head, you're like, oh, man, I'm messing up doing this or that. But all they really need is just you to be there and spend time with them. A lot of times, even with my oldest daughter, I remember taking her to the zoo, like all these different places. The time that she brings up the most is just like Saturdays. Like, Dad, you remember that time we sat down and we made ice cream together and we were throwing like jelly beans and peanut butter and all this weird stuff in there. And like she brings that up often. So just realizing that my presence, just spending time with her is the most important thing.
That's dope. Yeah.
your presence is a present.
Yeah.
Yes.
Genesis, these are gems, Genesis. Okay.
Agreed.
Writing this down.
That's a fact.
Parent guidebook.
Parenting 101.
Right.
And I always say have grace for yourself. I think
Yeah.
Kareem just brought up an amazing point. That's very true. Like, and for instance, like I remember us taking popcorn to like Disney, right? Like you hear Disney's this huge thing.
Right.
She had a horrible time. And then we took her to Epcot, right? Like it was freezing. It was freezing in December. It was like this was last year, so this was that year. It was we had like some type of crazy cold front across the country. So literally it was 20-something degrees in Florida.
Oh,
So I'm out in Florida in a bubble coat.
Yeah.
Popcorn's like this, just miserable. And I'm like, we paid so much money for this and you are unhappy.
right.
And so I'm just like, or that moment when you like excited, you buy a gift and they're playing with the box or the
Yeah.
wrapping.
Oh,
So it's literally like, look, let's just take a step back. Let's take a step back and let's just enjoy the moment, be present day to day, take it day by day and just enjoy the moment because as you said, you're right, like those little things that we overlook, they're watching everything.
yeah.
You know, they're watching everything and they're genuinely appreciating it. And although we're like being so hard on ourselves, like, oh, we need to do better, because kids are so resilient. Sometimes like they could have a parent that's not good and they still love them.
Yeah.
Like it's just so pure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we're actually present and there. So
Yeah.
you kind of have to just take that in with a grain of salt.
Yeah, same with the kids we work with, you know, just we're present, we here, we show up for them, and they, you know, build that love and trust for us because we're present. You know, we see that with the kids we work with every day.
It's true. So, segueing, here's a really good one. Would you do anything differently? And I'm not going to say there's regrets. It doesn't necessarily have to be regrets, but if you can go back, would you do anything different?
No. For me, the thing that was stopping me from like having kids was getting my degree, getting married, living in my own apartment. So I got those things done before I had the kid. So, no.
Genesis had a plan and she stuck to it. That's big time.
I'm gonna piggyback off that as well. You know, I don't have any regrets. You know, I feel like life was lifing for me exactly when it needed to. You know, exactly when I needed to be. So, no regrets. No, not at all. Everything is kind of like it was written already. That's how I feel. Like I kind of it was already in my destiny.
I don't have any regrets per se, but I would have definitely accepted help when it was being given to me more. I would have, you know, at times when
That's
people,
tough.
when people were saying, "Hey, man, you know, I watch the kids for a bit. Why don't you take your fiance, go out, have something to eat, or you know, go decompress, whatever the case is." I would have taken that help more.
Wow,
Now
that's tough.
being, you know, a father of 3, sometimes I'm looking for those same people. Like, hey, man, you remember a couple years ago when you said you
They
like-
probably hit you. Well, that's when you only had one.
right,
You know?
right.
You got 3 of them now. I don't know, bro. I
Can't
don't know.
accept this help later. It's like
Right.
offering somebody a drink and they're like, nah, but can I take it to go? No. That drink
Like
is for
you're supposed
this house right now.
No,
The offer
100%.
expires if you say
Nah,
no.
yeah, that's-
No,
that's
100%. So that would have been my one thing that I would have done is just taking care of myself better.
big. Felt that.
For me, I actually, y'all said it already. It's not a regret, but if I go back, I would have changed it. Is time. I'm in my second career, so in my first, it was like a lot of time spent away, and I cannot get that time back. And I think my third child, the third one, the youngest are always the wildest, because by then they're just like, look, I don't care what the parents talking about, and by then you actually have a little bit more experience. So when you have the first child, you're very like, something drops on the floor, you pick it up like, oh, we got to throw it away, we got to get a new one. By the time the third child, you wipe it off and you hand it back to them, and like they'll be all right. And then like even one time I was sitting, it was 2 of us who have multiple kids. It was 2 people, it was me and someone else. It was 4 of us all together. Me and someone else has 3 kids. And the other 2 people only has 1 kid. And we're talking, we're building, we're like talking like about some spiritual stuff. And you hear boom. Me and the other person that has 3 kids did not move. Like we just continued, didn't even stop in a sentence or nothing. We just was like, blah, blah, kept going. The other 2 just popped up and went, and we looked at each other laughing because I'm like, listen, if I ain't hear no
Crying afterward,
and
right?
then I know my daughter's crying, they're good. Like let them figure it out.
Rookies.
So
That's funny. Yeah.
So that part for me, but time. I definitely would have done things a little differently. And then in the beginning, I used to regret like, oh man, I have my kids young because my oldest is 19 now. But then I look at it and I'm like, time out. We just played 2-on-2. Like it was me and another dad versus his daughter and my son. Yeah, we whooped on him. I just had to throw that out.
He said that with confidence
Yes.
too.
His name is Naheem Eli
Oh, wow.
Wyatt, so you can check his eyes and all of that.
Government and all.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
He's like that.
Yes. We're still like that. He thought it was gone. It's like, no, it doesn't go anywhere. So, but in that moment, I just was like, wow, like I get to still hoop with my son. When they have kids, I'm still going to be able to like be moving. So
Yeah.
that's the great part about having them young. So I don't regret it, but I do wish if I could go back, I would have changed. Like I would have spent more time. I would have had him out there in Europe with me. Like that's time I can't get back. I mean, we spent a lot of time with this. Finally being home and being with my daughter, it's like, wow, like I was there for everything. So there's so many different things I missed. And, you know, they understand that like you have to make a living and all that other stuff. However, they count it as time,
Yeah.
like quality time. That's like the most important.
Your presence is still missed. Yeah.
Absolutely. And to almost to finish us off, I know there's plenty that can be shared. So what's a funny story that you have? I feel like Kareem's is gonna like might be an ACS case. He just has that look on his face, but it's okay.
Yeah.
The time has passed. Is there a statute of limitations for our social workers? Is there a statute of limitations? No? No? There's not? Kareem, tread lightly. Okay.
So my group of friends asked me and my fiance out. We couldn't get a sitter at the time. So we brought our daughter, which she was 4 at the time, with us. We went to like BBQs to have drinks and sticky wings, that sort of thing. So I bought a non-alcoholic beverage for my daughter and then an alcoholic one for myself. My fiance asked me to pass her my drink. My daughter was sitting in her lap. So I'm passing it over to her, and as I'm doing it, my daughter takes the straw and takes a sip of the drink. And then you know how kids get that burst of energy where they're just shaking their head like... literally everyone at the table just stopped and looked at her, and she was just, she had that look like her eyes, right. So I'm like, oh my God, I just got my baby child.
She was geeked up.
But she was, honestly, she was fine. we spent, like you said, just your first kid, you panic, like, oh my God, do I gotta call somebody or something like that? She was she jumped around for a bit, passed out. She was perfect.
That's hilarious because in the South they used to put liquor in the baby
Put
bottles.
a finger of it.
And for
Really?
For when they're
those,
teething.
absolutely,
Yeah.
when they're
For the teething,
teething,
yeah.
and sometimes if they're having trouble going to sleep, like some whiskey or something like that.
Yep.
Just a little, not a lot. Just
Old
a little
school,
bit.
that's old school.
Old school. And here's another thing too. I don't know if this happened to y'all, but for new parents, for those who are going to be parents, I'm telling you, sometimes you find out their milestones through like an accident. So we figured out our kid could roll over when he fell off the couch. Like we used to set him up with his bottle,
Right.
and I was in Holland. My first son, I was in Holland, and we heard boom. So ran out the kitchen. I was like, oh my God. And we were so nervous, like, do we gotta take him to the hospital? That's when we figured out, like, yo, dude's rolling over
He's
now.
rolling over.
Can't leave him by himself. He's like legit rolling over.
Yeah.
We couldn't even celebrate the moment.
Yeah, no, that happens. First parents, your child will fall out the bed. It will happen.
That's a
You think
fact.
you can avoid it? You can't.
You can't.
You could put a boppy there, pillow. They will roll over that boppy.
Line the floor up with pillows. That's what we
Yup,
do. I
that's
always
all you
line
could do.
pillows up around.
That's all you could do.
So Josh, you have a story?
Man.
Kareem's, yours is sketchy.
I'll tell you.
Yours is sketchy.
This happened the other day. Actually, like literally, this happened. I want to say Christmas Day, Christmas morning. So my mom has Alzheimer's. So it's kind of like having two babies in the house. You got my mom and my son, and they love each other dearly. But to the point where they have like a love-hate relationship. So like they're arguing, they're going at it. Like my son has a whole bunch of words to say to my and my mom is on some, oh, stop it. No, don't do that, and no, don't hit me. And I'm yelling upstairs, don't you hit my mother, don't you hit my mama. And then so you hear him, he's going all for da 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 da. And then next thing you know, he's on the step. And my mom says something to him, and he goes, what? Cut your ish, and starts stomping up the steps. He ain't say ish now. He actually said the word, but I ain't gonna say it because we on camera. But he said, what? Cut your ish, and started storming up the steps, stomping. And I, like, in that moment, it's like, do I reprimand? Like, I mean, I get it. She was bothering you. I understand. In that moment, I didn't even know what to say. I just looked at him like, did he just say? And my father come running out from his room. Did he just say what I think he? And we're all looking at each other like, how we going to handle that?
Yo, some of it too is not laughing when they say the wild
Right,
stuff.
but it
You're
was,
thinking like, y'all want to laugh right now.
and it fit perfectly. Like it was just like, cut your ish, Nana, and just stormed up the steps, and it was just like, yo, did he just say that?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, don't talk to your Nana that way.
Yeah, they know.
Like, where'd he get that from? Like,
But we're not going to answer that question. Genesis, onward, upward.
Just trying to avoid getting peed on. Really, that's my funny story. Changing
yes.
the diaper real quick.
I have like a whole system of changing diapers. Like I'll put the wipe, leave it right there.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I learned after getting peed on like 3 times.
Yeah. Welcome to parenthood.
That's a fact. So mine is one time I was home from overseas. It's summertime. I'm watching my son, and all my kids have actually been like very independent in their play, so they don't need anyone to like join in. So I was like, this is great. So I don't know what it is about like car rides put the children to sleep, couches put dads to sleep.
Yeah.
So I'm on the couch watching him, and it literally was like maybe like a 5-minute doze off. I wake up and I don't see him no more. I just see the toys in the middle of the floor. So I'm like, Naheem. So then I get up, and it's a 1-bedroom apartment. So I go to the back. I'm just like, where's my guy at? So I don't see him. Now I go in the kitchen. So I'm like, we used to play hide and seek in the apartment too. So I'm like, this is not a game of hide and seek. So now I'm panicking because I'm like, as a parent, you cannot call the other parent and say, I lost
the
child.
kid.
It's not going to be, I lost our child. It's going to
Nope.
be like, I lost your child.
Right.
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 So now I'm just like, oh my God. So I'm like looking under the like the mattress, under the bed, closet, can't find him. I'm in the apartment at least a good 3-4 minutes, like losing it, right? Something's like, just go check outside. So I unlock the door. I open the door and go out. My son was in his pamper in like a onesie right at the elevator about to press the button.
He was getting
And I
out
was
of
like,
here.
Naheem. And he looked at me like, what, bro? I got you. Like, that was the look on his face. So remember how I said
Get outta
you'll
here.
figure out these milestones when they happen?
Yeah.
That's when I figured out, like, oh, he can reach the door and he knows how to turn the door.
Yeah.
So from then, we had put the latch on the door.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any mishaps, but it was very, very close.
It's a good thing you woke up.
Listen.
It's a good thing you woke up.
Listen, he would have been on the elevator just like chilling.
Chilling.
So, it's okay. The statue, he's 19 now, so that can't be a case. All right, so we like to end with quotes. We have some very powerful parenting quotes. So Genesis, you want to leave us with one?
There is no such thing as a perfect parent, so just be a real one. Sue Atkins.
Speak with your children as if they are the wisest, kindest, most beautiful humans on earth. For what they believe is what they will become. Brooke Hampton.
Children don't say, I had a hard day. Can we talk? They say, will you play with me? Lawrence Cohen.
Dope. Patience is a virtue.
And that concludes our podcast. Thank you for spending time with us today, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.